And welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum D&D podcast. My name is Trey.
I am Ryan.
I was going to say, do I need to even highlight it that I got it right? I didn't have any problems that time.
We're good.
Yeah. So we got a recommended topic.
Yes.
Yes. I wanted to say beforehand, thank you, band.
Absolutely.
Great comment. Great topic. Excited to talk about it. If you have a topic you would like us to talk about in this D&D podcast, please do so in the comment section down below.
Yes. We'll come up with topics each week. Record on Wednesday, put them out Friday. They hit YouTube on Friday. Yes.
Yep.
And yeah, if we can, we'll easily change our topic. We love talking about this stuff. And so if you have any ideas, let us know.
Should also say we have a new setup.
Yes.
New mics.
Yes. So we'll see how this works out.
So hopefully we sound great.
I hope so.
I mean, Ryan, I always sound great. I don't know.
Well, especially at least after you get warmed up, right?
Yeah. You know, I gotta get into the swing of things first. I need at least an hour to talk about Microsoft stuff before I get warmed up. So yeah, I don't know if you want to just immediately dive right into the topic, or if you wanted to hit on some other stuff first. It's kind of a meaty topic.
It is because it leads into other things, and we're going to obviously cover some stuff that we have talked about, and it's not. Did you want to highlight a couple parts out of that?
Yeah,
or do you want to read through it?
I think reading through the whole thing, if you want to read through the whole thing, you can. You go back to last week's podcast and to the comment section, leave your own comment along with it. But the big things that Ben brought up is that Ben would love to see us talk about tying your character and your backstory into the DM's campaign.
Yes.
To be able to pull that in. And then from there, being able to roleplay. How to encourage others at the table to roleplay. If you're the only one at the table that is trying to roleplay and everybody else is not, how do you try and bring them in with that character that you have made? And I do think those two things tie in very closely together.
Yes.
Because first off, you have to know what your character is
True.
and how it ties in to be able to play it. And then the last big thing that Band had asked was, because Band has seen both types, how do we feel about that encouragement and about trying to make it fun for everybody?
Okay. So let's go back to the first part of that. Okay, which was you put it up already.
I can pull it back out. No worries.
I was going to start with that first part.
Yes.
And hit each one of those individually.
Absolutely.
And tie them up. But I don't want to mess up their words or anything.
Right. Ban says, how do you, as a player, get your backstory out there in gameplay? I've seen many guides and tip videos that address the problem of players writing this big, elaborate backstory, and yet in play, it never comes out. And more generally, how do you encourage role-playing at your tables when other players are not against it, but seem unsure in how to start?
So the first part of that is getting your character in. Your backstory, right?
Yeah.
That's going to have to start at session 0.
Yes.
Because if it goes past session 0 and it's not taken care of, you're going to have a hard time doing it.
Yeah. When are you going to tie that in with the DM?
Yeah. It kind of goes. So it's fun making characters. It's
Absolutely.
fun of thinking characters. Not every character fits every world.
Right.
And every play style. So one, background is something that can definitely be discussed at session 0.
Oh, yeah.
Especially as the DM's laying out, maybe the DM, she's got these locations lined out, and these different factions and these kind of ideas,
right?
If you're taking from that and writing back story, you're already tied to the world.
Absolutely.
So that can be big, and that's like session 0. That's before you get going. So that'd be my place to start.
That's the first step for sure, in my opinion. When you make a campaign, you already have an idea of what you want the world to be. Yeah. So you ask your players, hey, what do you feel like playing? Here's some major locations. Like you said, maybe here's a culture. If you're doing a world-builded world that you have made, a homebrew world. Yes. If not, and you're doing Forgotten Realms, or you're doing any other of the older campaign settings that aren't in 5e, then you could say, hey, we're going to be running this style campaign. These are areas that are open for you to be able to make a character from. And I think especially for like a new player, when you then go, hey, you had mentioned you wanted to play a fighter.
Right.
This culture in this world has like a lot of martial arts, and they have tournaments that they run and arenas and stuff like that.
Yes.
Maybe this is a culture your character could come from. And then your player can then go, okay, yeah, I want to be from that culture. I want to be a pit fighter from the fighting pits,
Right.
And then you can go as the DM, you can then go, all right, I like that. Let's work that in. Right.
And and then you're automatically tied into the world.
Right.
I think maybe on, as fun as it is to write massive backstories,
right,
for a player, I think too much is as bad as too little.
I agree.
Does that make sense? Give yourself some room to kind of grow and some blanks to fill in.
Well, and like we've talked about before, when we world build, we don't fill everything out right away.
Yes,
we let the campaign build.
Right.
And we let the world build around it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think the player's backstory should be the same way. It doesn't need to be variable. It doesn't need to be like super malleable and change all the time.
No, yeah, absolutely not. You definitely don't want it changing just because of the situation.
Right.
Like, I need you to be, I need you at one time you were a sailor, okay?
Right.
No, but yeah.
But it can grow and change as you go. I think not to just immediately always call back to the campaign that we're doing.
Well, I mean, it's at hand. So.
Yeah. My character has changed a lot. He was a bargeman,
Yeah.
He ran a barge, but as we've gotten into more of it, I've invented out of almost nowhere. It feels like sometimes like, oh, well, he had a good relationship with his grandpa, he never spent that much time with his mom and dad, and just roll that out as we go because it felt natural for the character.
Now, there's one thing I did it as a DM. And I did it for the campaign.
Right.
It was the only time I'd message y'all individually.
Yeah.
I actually, as the DM, I usually try to stay out of any game talk.
Yeah.
In the Discord. Now this doesn't have to be. I use Discord to do this.
Right.
But
you can just as easily do it in person.
I don't
text message.
I didn't give anybody anything in their background per se, but I sent each of y'all just a scene. With your character in it. And I think it more reflected the world you lived in rather than your character's personal stuff.
Absolutely.
And I did that for each one of y'all.
Absolutely.
And kind of just like, hey, does this sound good? And luckily enough, everybody's like, hey, I really like that.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, so there was almost like everybody had a little bit of a pre-quest.
Right.
It was just a scene per se,
yeah,
or a setting. But yeah, everybody had that. And I think that helped this time.
I agree. I think another thing that helps too is don't, again, especially if you have like a fully written out backstory, which again, I don't think you really need to have, don't try and give all your backstory right away. The DM is going to find things they can use to work in your character's backstory if you give it.
Yeah.
But you don't have to give it all at once.
That's true.
You can give bits and pieces of it. And I think especially with your party, if at session 0, you're like, this is my elf rogue Hardrin, and Hardrin came from the streets, and on the 4th day of the 3rd month he found his first dagger. So you're gonna lose him real quick, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna tune out.
But it's cool to have that, right?
Yeah.
We're not saying don't do that.
Right.
So when you at session 0, it's like, hey, he's got a dagger, really important to him. Nothing special about it. Unless there could be, Mr. DM. Things like that. So, like I said, I don't want to sound like we're saying don't write the,
Right. You can write it out, but drip feed the information.
Yeah, drip feed the information and make it brief. In session 0, you need, man, don't take 20 minutes explaining your character.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff, like I said, lots of may change.
Yeah. Your character's going to change so much in between session 0 and session 3.
Yeah.
You're going to have a completely different character almost. Because stuff's going to happen in character, in game, without you even meaning to. And we'll get to roleplay in a minute. That is going to change the way that character works. And then that backstory might not fit anymore.
Yeah. If you've got it that detailed, that tight. Yeah.
Especially if you're playing that Frardruin or whatever I just called him, the rogue, right? That never wants to be around anybody else. But then maybe at the table, you're having a really good time in character, hanging out with everybody.
Yeah.
Well, your backstory is basically wrong it's a lie at this point because your character loves hanging out with people.
Well,
you know.
Also, okay. Kind of on the role playing side, also like you're building your character.
Yeah.
Are you taking traits from the player's handbook or that kind of background? You know, because that's a little bit pre-built. Nothing wrong with that,
right?
At all.
It's a great way to add more characters.
It is because one, you usually get a few things for it. And if you're coming up with an idea for your own background, with your DM, you could say, "Hey, I wasn't really a sage.
Right.
I was a little bit more of just left in a library.
Yeah,
a little bit lone. Can we do something with that?" And you kind of got an outline to do that with.
Absolutely.
But that was a little bit, if you're not good with coming up with backgrounds.
Yeah. If you struggle with coming up with a good history for your character, again, you don't have to have one right away either.
That's true.
Your character could just say, "I don't want to talk about it right now. I don't know you people. Why would I talk about my past?" And then over time, as you become more comfortable with the character, you can start making a past for that character.
That's true.
And especially if you get with your DM and are like, "Hey, I would actually kind of like my character to be from this place that we heard about. Is that okay?"
Yeah.
And your DM goes, "Sure," or they go, "No," and then you have more options. Right.
Well, look, and this is especially first time through. Do yourself a favor, whatever the different races, different characters, different classes that you're allowing, not allowing, whatever. For the first time through, everybody here at this table at session 0, y'all know each other.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh.
And you will cut out, and look here. I'm actually going to throw a few things out here that, like I said, this leads to bigger and bigger topic. That's why it's such a good conversation thing, right? If you're doing this, that solves a lot of problems, honestly.
Especially if you're starting at level 3 or level 5.
Yeah.
You've been an adventuring party for a while.
Well, I'll even say, even starting out, you're going to have your level 1 there. If you have, if you're all coming from the same town, or you all grew up in an orphanage,
right,
or there's some kind of connection there, that will make the role playing easier.
Absolutely, because
you interact with people. It's sometimes it's fun to have the quiet one or be the loner or have a mysterious back. That's cool too. I want you to have, but I'm saying for your first time through, everybody knows each other. They have or at least have some kind of connection,
right?
And that makes it a lot easier. And then you work your background together. And once I said, you kind of have a background together that everybody kind of builds up that the DM can pull from. So instead of the DM having to go, okay, your background piece here matters to you, so I need to throw that in, but that one's different for you, and that one's different to you, that one's different to you.
Right. Now everybody's has the same tie.
Yeah, you have some kind of tie that say they all have a reason for fighting for.
Yeah.
And it's just a small thing, but I think it adds makes it a little bit easier starting out.
Right.
And it adds to the story because there's a commonality between characters. It makes role playing easier.
Absolutely.
Especially for the ones that are kind of shy.
An easy way to do that is siblings. Like you said, orphans grew up in an orphanage together. It's a whole lot easier for people that don't role play a lot to recognize a sibling bond or a friendship bond.
Absolutely.
Between people that are supposed to have already been friends for a long time.
Exactly.
There's a reason why movies do it, right?
Yeah.
The opening scene of a movie will often have two characters that have been friends for a long time playfully rib each other or tell a joke that the other one already knows the punchline to, just to try and let the audience know these people are friends. Your character can do the same thing.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's kind of all ties together because then if you have somebody sitting at the table who is shy about role playing, and how do you define role playing? That'd be kind of different thing. But as when we're talking about it here, it's like maybe doing voices and really getting animated and everything. If they're shy about it, it kind of fits because one of their siblings, friends, cousins, orphanage, prison mates, whatever it was, is like, hey, I don't. She ain't gonna ask no questions.
That's the quiet one.
That's the quiet one. Don't get her mad. You talk to me.
Right.
And it fits in and, maybe. And then when that person does later come out of their shell. Yeah. One, don't look at them like they got lobsters coming out their ears.
Oh, please. Immediately just accept it.
Yeah. Accept it and go on with it.
If you react any other way, they're not going to do it again. They're going to shut down again.
They're not going to do it now.
It's normal.
and we talked about this just a little bit before. We try to steer the conversations away from D&D a little bit before, just so we're not
derailing quite as much.
Yeah. But this is, like I said, it would make it easier role playing around the table.
Yeah.
Which goes into kind of, I think, the second question that was put on there
is
how to encourage the role playing. Or was that the third?
How do you encourage, as a player or DM, going from creating your character to what I'd call more in-depth role play? How do you combat, or at least help make it easier for players to combat the natural response some people have of not wanting to be uncool or even feeling legitimately awkward by role-playing emotional or serious moments or stories?
Okay. So, so let's kind of go into that. We may make it easier for that. Now, on the word role play.
Right. We have to define our terms.
I do, because I know, I'm almost 100% sure I know what band is talking about.
Right.
Here, right. Doing a voice. And if I'm wrong, I'll apologize, and we'll I'll touch on that later. I think it's about doing a voice, and being kind of being that character.
Yeah, embodying the character.
Embodying the character at the table. I'm probably not going you're probably not going to like my answer, because mine's going to be you don't.
Right.
You don't. And here's why: because role playing is different. Okay.
Yes.
If you were like that, and that would be great to have at my table. I'd enjoy that. I don't know if I've said this before on podcast. Maybe not. Maybe just for you. Out of the two groups I run, if I was going to do one online, out of the 8 players, 8 players, there's really only 3. 2 for sure I would take.
Right.
And 1 I think would fit well with it.
Right.
Would roll with it. The other players not. And because they're not going to do the voices
and
embody the character. Now, I've got the other players are good role players.
Oh yeah, they're great.
But they don't embody the character.
Yeah.
They think about, well, what would I do now? Okay, so this is what she's going to do, or this is what he's going to do.
Right. It's always from a second person perspective almost.
Yeah. And it's more like they're directing a scene when they talk, I'm going to try to I'm going to try to be real humble and ask again.
Right.
Whereas, and I'll say, we'll roll, performance for me or persuasion for me, depending on what it was.
Yeah.
And that, to me, they're still role playing.
I agree.
And it's going to be very calm at the table,
Right.
So I don't want to push or make anybody feel like they should.
Right.
And I've seen people.
There's a stigma about it.
Yeah. But I've seen people like I said, I've seen people, they got to around 10th level.
Yeah.
You've been playing a while. And that's when they opened up.
Yeah. Just all of a sudden.
Yes. And awesome.
And I think, like we were saying, there's a stigma about it. There's this idea that you have to do that. But if you want to do that and don't know how, I think there are options for that too, right?
Absolutely.
I think it's well documented at this point that I'm a first person role player. I embody my character. To the point of, if my character is looking around to see what a room looks like for a perception check, I am looking around.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Because I'm in my character's head, right? And that can be intimidating for people. If you've never played D&D before and you sit down at a table with me as a player,
well, if you
I'm
never
going
played
all
D&D
out
to that in that way,
right?
I'm
going all out, and that's gonna surprise you.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing to say is, don't feel like you have to do that. But if you want to do that, the easiest way is just to try it.
Yeah.
It's okay if your voice is not that different from your own. It's okay if your movements and your getting in character wind up being just a bunch of jokes. But if you are a table that wants to be in character, and you find, which I think is more of the third question, but we'll get to that in a minute. You find that your table is more of the jokey type, where everybody's only in character long enough to tell a joke, then maybe you just need to try and spend a little bit more time in character. Maybe because the question of, like, how do you do it with serious conversations, right? Let me get the exact wording here again so I don't bleed into the third question. It's tough because I have to hit more every time and scroll back down to it. Thanks to the fact that YouTube doesn't want to just leave it open.
Yeah.
It was, how do you combat, or at least help make it easier for players to combat the natural response some people have of not wanting to be uncool or even feeling legitimately awkward by role-playing emotional or serious moments.
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, I'm a little bit lucky in that factor, okay? Because I've never been cool a day in my life, and I'm not going to try to start now. But I know exactly what they're saying there.
Yeah.
A
lot of people that are afraid to do it.
That's almost stage fright in a way.
Absolutely.
I don't know. That's kind of, you have to let that naturally go, I think.
I think so. Now, if I was at that table and
yeah.
somebody wanted to do it but didn't know how, and I knew they wanted to do it, I'm not going to then go, hey, here's how you do it. Instead, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to lean into it and try to pull them in by just, it's already happening. I might as well do it too, you know?
Now, I think and don't do this right off the bat, not like an interrogation, but I think you can also do things like, well, hey, does your character have an accent?
Right.
Where they wear, and like small questions, personal questions.
Right.
Can help people role play a little bit too.
Well, like and also, how would your character feel about that?
Yeah, that's a good one for that. Like I said, not like an interrogation, because you may get, I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially first time players who don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
and another good thing I think to try is, instead of turning to the other player, you have a question for their character, instead of saying, hey, does your character have this? If you're already a first person role player, you turn, and in your character's voice, if they have a voice, you say, hey, character name, do you have this?
Yeah. Doesn't, or answering any questions they have. Like, keeping it light. Even, I have seen it kind of be pulled in a little bit. Just a little bit. This was years ago. Strict role player. He knew that who we were playing, we weren't strict.
Right.
Like, you got punished at his table if you didn't put your hand on your head
to talk out of character.
Yeah.
That's why I do voices. It's so much easier.
Yeah. Some people, and some people, it's easier to put their hand on their head.
Yeah.
But he was cool, and he actually got people around the table a little bit because he knew his out of character didn't matter. It was kind of funny and laughing.
Yeah.
So he was in his character. He was in his character the whole time.
Right.
Answering concept questions about the game.
Yeah.
That way, and kind of living up a little bit. One, he didn't get to do that at his other table.
Yeah.
For
sure.
And that kind of made a couple other people, and they didn't go that far.
Right.
But in games afterwards, they would let me know, he's got a voice like this, or she's, she speaks like this, and couple, give it a try every once in a while.
Yeah. And I can't help it personally. It's when I'm playing D&D, I'm playing that character. I want to be that character for the purpose of that,
Yeah.
I'll still hang out and make fun jokes, not in character,
Yeah.
But if I'm playing that character and I get hit, you're going to hear me go,
yeah.
Because I got hit.
Well, also for me.
And some people get weirded out by that.
See, and like I said, on us, it's a little bit different because I have a voice in my head when I've got the character made as I'm making the character.
Yeah.
I'm
right there with you.
Especially when I get the name. Like one of the ones I had recently. I'm a forever DM. My characters don't go past third level.
The only reason I get to play is because of Ryan.
I don't get any characters past third level. Oh no, I take that back. My ranger just hit fourth level.
Nice.
Ding. Rats. But yeah, the derailed.
Yeah,
squirrel.
It happens. It happens. But trust me, I should know.
For some reason, I had the name Allahorn.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I got to say that deep. Allahorn. I was like, okay, I got my character. He's a little bit older.
Yep.
His background was a soldier. Yep. And he's been in the wars. He's tired of it. He's trying to just make some money on the road. Yep. So he's a fighter champion. I don't have to think about nothing but this voice.
That's right.
So, telltale sign of a team.
Yeah.
But I had the voice was like, okay, now I got it all together.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of how I worked the character.
I'm the same way with Slizzard the Wizard. Slizzy the Wizzy. I already have a voice for him. You know?
But I don't think a lot of people are going to be building their character that way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we're the outliers for sure.
And I think one of the things about role playing is one, play up the faults.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think you can get other people to kind of go, okay, It's okay to be uncool.
Right.
It's okay. if you get a 1 and fall on your face and hurt yourself, play
get
it up.
Go in for it.
And you can kind of pull people in that way, or at least get them describing more.
Yep.
I've noticed that happened more. I think a lot of players role play.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like them playing a director's part.
That's right.
They'll say my character, or they may say, I'm going to do this.
Right.
But that's what it is from a step back.
It's always that second person perspective.
And I could understand being, the only person at the table doing a voice.
Yeah.
That would get tiring.
Yeah, for sure.
And like maybe like I said, ask, hey, what does that character sound like? At least I can hear it in my head,
Right.
So when you talk, I'll hear it in my head,
And try to pull it out,
Yeah.
I think specifically the serious scenes are the tough ones.
Yeah.
Again, this is not to talk about because I'm not saying any one is better than the other, right?
No.
I recognize that I definitely am a first person role player.
Right.
In a serious scene, I'm in character.
Yeah.
Because I recognize the severity of that scene, right?
Right. Which goes back to if you have that commonality, what I was talking about
absolutely
in the beginning, that's why we thought we tie it together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're in character, feeling that scene, and at least the other people around know, okay, we're all linked in this,
right? This is happening to my brother or my dad or my cousin or whatever.
Yeah.
But I recognize that for a lot of people, especially like character death is the severity one, right?
Yeah.
When a character dies at the table, how do the other characters react? Because for me, I try to think about it as in my character is in that world.
Right.
How are they going to react?
Yes.
And that's where I always base it from. But for a lot of people, as soon as a character dies, it's step back. I'm not in character anymore. This is a terrible thing that's happened. I'm now the player again, watching this unfold.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas then their character, it's kind of like a bad video game where like when the
so what?
Yeah, like everybody else in the background just stops moving completely and they might as well not be there, And it's like, when you take the reins off your character because you're shocked at this death instead of both of you being shocked, the character and the player, your character is kind of just standing there watching the rest of the people grieve.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, in character, your character would be upset. And Brian, I'm going to rant for a second.
Go for it.
Because I have this big problem with the idea of people going, well, our characters aren't friends. We're only level 7. Do you know how many adventures you've been on? Do you understand how many adventures you've been on to be level 7? I don't even care if you started level 5. You're friends by level 7.
Yeah.
Because you have trusted your life with these people. Like, the fact of our characters aren't friends. We barely know each other. But look, there is a reason that soldiers wind up becoming such good friends.
Yeah.
When you are in a life-threatening situation multiple times, you become dependent on those people.
Yep.
And so your characters become friends. There can be jokes of how like, no, that person's not my friend. But, and I know you know exactly who I'm referencing there, but like the jokes exist, but realistically, by the time your characters have been together for a couple levels, they would probably die for each other.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
like,
close to it.
That's a bond that will never be shaken.
Yeah.
And it's why those character deaths mean so much. And it's why you as the player, I believe when a character dies, even if you're not a first person role player, give it a little bit extra. Try to go in a little bit more because this is one of the biggest moments in the campaign.
Yeah.
You're not going to get another one of these so quickly.
Well, and that player who doesn't role play might say, you don't have to, not saying play it all out.
Right.
But, hype up that, hey, no, my character sits down.
Yeah.
Tears wells up and lowers their head.
Yeah. That's way better than just hands off.
Yeah. But and see that's where the role playing thing kind of comes in and how it's different for different people.
Right.
And it is kind of difficult to find that balance at the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because like, how do you, at session 0, how do you go, well, I'd like everybody to role play, please. Like you can't. It's more of your table is just your table, Now
I'm sure, if you're not like me and you have lots of friends, maybe you can divide up your groups.
Right.
And you might be able to say, okay, okay, look, Monday night, if you kind of sit back, you may not want to come to this one.
Right. This is the role play session.
Yeah, because we're gonna be,
everybody's coming in hoods.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Be carrying their weapons.
Yeah.
We're playing by candlelight this time.
Right. I'm gonna be honest with you. If we didn't have D&D almost every time after I get off work, I could wear some costumes.
I'm sure you could. I do not doubt it. But and if you have that luxury, then
go for it.
Yeah, problem solved. And let the and that doesn't mean that the groups can't cross.
Yeah.
Or anything, but if you want to role play a night, then like that. Now, of course, a lot of people don't have the luxury of one, having that many people to play with, or two, having the time,
or that many people's schedules all lined up.
Right.
Well, and again, I think the example a lot of people go to is, like Critical Roles. They're such good role players. XP to level 3, maybe not quite as much because they focus more on the dungeon delving side of it.
Yeah.
But and don't get me wrong, some of their role play is incredible still. Like, don't take that as like a slight against them.
Once again, but these people are doing it for a living, dadgummit.
Right. And they're all still playing D&D.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, yes, Critical Role has 9 incredible actors.
Yes.
They're doing great, right?
Right, yeah.
XP to level 3, they're not acting as much, but they're still having a blast.
Right. Well, they don't also, he also doesn't have a production crew.
Right.
He's got his buddies.
Yeah. Again, don't take this as a slight against Jacob.
No, not at all.
I love XP to level 3.
Yeah, no.
I still want to do that podcast one time, recommending our favorite D&D YouTube channels.
Oh, man. We probably just go through all of them.
Oh, yeah. But, I think it's the difference of what you want at the table, right?
Yeah.
And I think as a player, if you want everybody to be roleplay heavy, you ought to, and this again is not a slight, this is to anybody, you ought to say that at session 0.
Yeah.
And see if everybody goes, well, I've never tried it before. I'd like to give it a shot.
Yeah. And also, it may not go 100% role play.
Yeah.
Because once again, where does it stop?
Right.
Where we kind of stop. Where's the line at what we're doing? Can I joke about this, or
right?
Is it gonna just? So one that goes back again to session 0, and it's hard.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be real. Throwing together a table among people it's gonna be hard to get a full roll. And if you do, God bless you. Go for it.
Yeah.
Lay it out.
I think there's another level too to role play that I think we need to talk about while we're at it.
Okay.
Which is when you go too heavy on the role play.
Yeah.
There's a level, and
I
may not be
D&D
the one
with Jim Carrey. I'm sorry.
I may not be the one to talk about it, since I specifically state which direction my character pees in the morning when he gets up, because he's superstitious.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a level, and I feel like it can be crossed. And when you cross that level, when you cross that line, I guess, the rest of the table is not going to role play with you.
Yeah.
When you get weird with it.
Well, you know what? I don't want to play. I don't want to sit at a table with somebody who's trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Or overdoing the creepy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think one of the big examples that comes to my mind is I used to play with a guy that would tell the DM when his character needed to poop. And at first, that's a funny joke, right?
Right.
20 sessions in, it's not funny anymore. It's gotten really old, and he's still doing it because he says, well, my character's got to poop. And DM's like, go out, dig a hole.
You know what? After that, at some point in time, that would have came to a stop in my session.
Right.
I just, okay, well, so the creature's coming, you're right, yeah. Well, you know what time it is.
Time to poop.
Yeah. You're having a hard time concentrating on that spell you want to cast.
Yeah, it's just don't be weird.
Yeah.
And I think, since we're talking about roleplay, I think that ties into flirting.
Yeah.
You can
look.
I'm trying not to rant again.
I understand. And look, there may be, and I'm sure there is, the people that would enjoy the romance novel.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking them.
Right.
And 93% sure I don't want to be at that table.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
You know, I can't honestly say 100%.
Yeah, because there's a part of it that could be fun.
Yeah, I don't know. And the DM may be great.
Right.
You know.
You give me a Harlequin novel as a table, I would give it a shot.
But most people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And especially, like I said, with a lot of home groups, they're not set up to be a show as well as an adventure campaign.
Right.
Yeah. Some people just want a good story and want to roll some dice and smack some people.
I also think that very quickly gets dangerous in the form of, okay, well, I'm going to flirt with this party member. My character is going to flirt with this other character that's a part of the party. Especially because I think one thing that's really easy to forget, especially because, again, I've talked about it a lot. I'm a first-person role player. I like to play at tables full of first-person role players.
Yeah.
Sometimes that gets weird when somebody's girlfriend is over there flirting with somebody else's boyfriend.
Yeah.
That gets a little weird, but it's just their characters.
No.
But we're all in character. It's getting a little strange at this table. Yeah. I kind of want to go.
This looks like a good place to retire.
Or like
you're in a cave. Yeah, it's a good place to retire. I'll stay here.
It can get weird too between like DM and his wife are playing, and DM and his wife have like NPC in character that are flirting.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, I like playing at your table. I didn't come here to watch you flirt with your wife. You're married in real life. We don't need to do this.
And there's another check against bards. I'm telling you.
And then it becomes this weird thing.
Yeah.
That we don't need to get into that.
No. And that's like one of the big ones. And
if you want people to RP with you at your table, don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you get that out of session 0. That may not be the table you want to be at.
Well, and especially like all the horror stories that come up and I see a bunch of them between Crit Crab and Neckbeardia and all the different, like there's so many horror stories of so-and-so's character decided to try and flirt with so-and-so other character.
Yeah.
And they didn't like it. And so then the first person got mad because their character wouldn't have a relationship with them.
Do it.
Just, it's so much easier. Look, roleplay's great. You can have romance in roleplay if you want to. But everybody needs to consent to it.
Okay. Yeah, but look, there's romance in Dragonlance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it kind of fits in the Dragonlance world.
Yeah.
But it's not creepy.
Right.
Yeah,
no, I'm with you.
Look, I guess maybe it's because I'm a little bit older. It's like, look, if it's beyond puppy love between two characters,
right,
just get it away from the table.
Yeah.
If it's
black screen it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fade to black.
Right. Do it. We need no description.
Those two characters had a great date. Now we're going to spend time with the rest of the party.
Right. You're not really being in character.
No.
Because I guarantee the shadows. I know what happens.
Yep.
If that girl wasn't cute,
yep,
it would not be flirting with her character.
Yep. It just like it causes problems, right?
Yeah. Keep it off the table.
I guess we should move into the third part of the question since I derailed this pretty hard.
Yeah, that's the thing. You said you're going to rant.
This
gave warning.
Band goes on to say, seen both type of groups, but what he's yet to see is how, when, if a player decides to go from the one-liners and jokes type of roleplay to the I want to roleplay how my character feels and how they react to a situation type of roleplay. And while that's not something that for sure happens to every player, it'd be interesting to know how we, as people who have both DM'd and played, would go about encouraging it in those that are still on the fence about what type of roleplay they enjoy. And of course, how to write a backstory or play your character in a way that encourages people to engage with them, which we've kind of already talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
But for me, if let's say we're 10 sessions in.
Right.
I've been playing my character in character the whole time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So has another player at the table. And then one of the other people at the table suddenly goes, I kind of want to try that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you then encourage them to give it a shot? Because my opinion, perfect. Like you said earlier, what's your character sound like?
Yeah.
Let's build it out. How does your character react to this? And then they can go, well, I already know I want to try. I've seen them doing it for 10 sessions.
Yeah.
I'm going to step into that character and I'm going to try.
And you can, well, how would you feel about that? Well, I would be furious.
Right.
Well, is your character that far off from you?
Right.
Well, then, they're probably furious, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Yeah. We're going to the cave.
And that leads to some of the best role play, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Recently, my character swore a vengeance pact because my character got mad at what one of the bad guys in the world was doing, to the point where I, as a person, had my heart rate going up because my character was furious. And it's like, well, yeah, of course he would do that. But we only got to that because I let my character react.
Yeah.
And like you said, I asked that question, how does Den feel about this? Well, Den's incredibly enraged.
Yeah. Doing something like that wouldn't have crossed Den's mind ever.
Yeah.
To any other living thing.
How could you?
It's a barn. Yeah. And look, that's a new table because you play like that.
Yeah.
We got a player who's a little bit less. It plays like that.
Yeah.
A little behind.
A little bit more reticent.
Yeah. And then another one that's quite a bit far behind that.
Right.
Another was a little more quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But at the table, nobody was like, or anything like that. They're like, no, we're back in Den.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I guess we're going now. Huh? Yeah. It was like that had to happen.
Yes.
So even though, two of those people don't do voices.
Right.
And they direct, they kind of tell what they want to do. They still were like, no, I guess, we're going now. We have to.
We're friends with this guy.
We're friends with this guy. My character is friends with this guy.
Right.
Even if they say they're not, they're going to go.
It's clear.
And so that goes back to session 0. Y'all are all connected.
Another great example in my mind, and again, we're going to keep referencing this campaign. None of you get to see, is that in the moment where we were all trapped in that cave, because the cleric had raised the wall, my character took the halfling and tried to lift her up through this escape so she could get away. Because, again, he's friends. He's going to try and get her out of there. And player of got upset because her character didn't want to leave my character to die.
Right. And that
because
you don't
we're
just
friends.
pick her up.
Well, yes, also that. Also that. And it's, again, like you said, if you want to encourage people to role play, the best recommendation for me is to role play yourself.
Yeah.
And it will slowly build where even the role play that they do may not be to the level you're doing it, but it is still role play.
And if they are one of the descriptive kind, they're going to be a director for their character. React to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that, when my character says this, then react to it. Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. We can't have that now, can we? I guess we're going along with it.
Yep.
Build it up however your character is going to do it. I don't know. That's a kind of a cool discussion. And it all kind of, it links in and gets into bigger things.
Yeah, it flows really well together.
I don't know how we shed some light on it, to kind of.
Yeah, because I feel like we said at the start, there's a stigma about role play.
Yeah.
Of it's either a good or a bad thing. And the good thing of, well, yeah, you have to do it. You can't not do it. Well, no, that's not true.
Right.
Because there's multiple levels of role play.
Yeah.
And just like we talked about before, none of them are intrinsically better than the others.
No. And that's why, and we when we did the role play podcast, this is different ways.
Right.
Not different styles.
Right.
Not levels. We made sure to stay away from that word. I forced myself not to say it.
Yeah.
Because that's not what it is.
Even though that's the way people look at it.
Yeah.
It's not what it is.
Yeah. And like I said, on any Sunday night or Monday night, when I'm running a campaign, it's going to go through all 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But like we said, there's also the bad stigma with role play, which is that role play always turns into, well, it's what my character would have done, which we didn't even talk about that. Yeah. I want to get into that in a minute.
Well, that's not role.
That's not role play at all.
Yeah. And that it is part of this topic, but I don't think that's what they were
right.
getting
That's
at.
not what band wanted to talk about.
No,
sure.
but that's definitely a thing, and that's
what my character would have done. Ryan, what does that mean? It's what my character would have done.
No, it's that you don't say that unless it's absolutely not what your character would have done.
Every single time.
You don't know my character's motives?
Well, my character would steal from the party and kill the paladin in his sleep.
Yeah.
Why? What's what my character would do? No, it's not. Your character's traveled with this paladin for 6 levels.
All right, we're getting ranty now.
Swinging the arm, getting ready for it.
No, stretch out, warm up a little bit. I don't understand that. I don't understand the competition player.
Yeah.
That's going to do that. And just look, there's times if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to do this and really mess up the DM, just stop.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not good for the table.
Absolutely.
Now,
that's the wrong attitude to have.
Now, look, there's a difference. It's all about splitting hairs. If you've got something that's like, I think this is going to surprise the DM.
Right.
That's different.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to see if I can pull it off and put this plan out. I think it's going to surprise the DM. That's cool.
Yeah.
If you put that, but it's like, I got to prove I'm the best at D&D.
Yeah.
I've got
this cooperative game.
Yeah. I got to prove that,
Well, and I think there are situations where, like, it's what my character would do is a real line, but almost always, like you said, it's not. One of the big examples,
are they asking it before or after they've done, or are they saying it out? Are they asking the question before? Like, what would my character do?
Right.
And then they make a wrong decision.
Yes.
Okay. And then they're like, and you explain to them why you see it as wrong. Maybe they're like, maybe I did do that wrong. But then most of the time it's like,
it's what my character would do.
My character would do.
Yeah.
You're a paladin. You're not going to step on a puppy.
Right. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, also, see, part of the problem. Lawful.
Yeah.
Chaotic.
Yep.
Really doesn't mean much in 5e.
It sure don't.
So, because you don't get, there's benefits and negatives.
Yeah.
That you used to get with that.
Can I give my my DM confession?
Sure.
That might get me. I might have to get my DM card revoked. I throw alignment out the window in almost all my campaigns.
Yeah.
We don't even talk about it. We don't do it.
In 5th edition, yes.
Yeah. That's what I mean in 5th.
Yeah,
why would we use it?
Yeah, it has no.
It serves no purpose.
Are you a good guy or are you a bad guy?
Well, what does it mean to be good?
Well, are you going to work with the party you're working against?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean, though. Are you? Are you the heroes or are you the villains?
Right.
Having a good time. And so with that. But like in 2nd edition, the alignment mattered.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You could lose your magic.
You lose your magic. You couldn't be stuff. Paladins are lawful good.
Yeah. You can't be I almost said berserker because 3rd. You can't be a barbarian if you are lawful good.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, lawful anything.
Yeah. Because it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. No. No. And I don't know. Alignment's missing from 5e.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And it's actually okay with 5e because of the way the world works, that they're setting up, how open it is. There's no consequence for having alignment in it. So I understand that position. Yeah, I realized that right quick. Especially looking at it's like, I can make a warlock paladin.
It serves no purpose to have an alignment on your character.
No.
But like to tie it back in, there are situations where I will say, Din would do this.
Yeah.
And then I'll do it. But almost always, if your excuse for why you robbed that matron of the orphanage of all their money as your rogue, I swear I'm not picking on rogues.
Yeah.
But almost always when I hear it's what my character would do, it's a rogue.
Yeah.
Or a paladin. Honestly, it's one of the two.
Look, I'm going to be real clear if I can actually speak.
Right.
Actually get the words out. When we're saying this, it's used as an excuse when it's everybody knows it's not what that character would do.
Absolutely.
That's why when you get up a few levels, there's a thief might cut the person off the paladin in the party and go and
Sure.
But that's been built up.
Right.
And nobody be surprised by that.
Right.
Then hopefully that's a lighthearted thing.
Right. And not a spiteful thing.
Yeah. Like the paladin reaches down for the go, knows exactly where it's went. It fits the character.
Right.
But yeah, too many times it's like, no, it's not.
Well, and I think the one example of the time that I expected it to be, that's what my character's going to do, or that's what my character would do, that it wasn't, was I had a cleric player once that had just gotten true resurrection. Like, we're talking high level campaign, right? Cleric's on watch. Everybody else is asleep. Cleric goes over to the rogue, stabs the rogue in the neck.
Just to cast.
Just so they could cast true resurrection. I went, why? The rogue player went, why? And the cleric's player in character said, I needed to test it, so we had it. And when everybody went, what? The cleric player said, it's what my character would do.
No.
But this character had tested spells on the party the entire campaign. And I went, so it is.
Okay. I gotta give it to him. Yeah.
It's the only time where I was like, all right, this character cast inflict grievous wounds on the paladin.
See?
Just to see how it worked.
See that. Yeah, I can't argue with that one.
Yeah, you got to test it, right?
There was a history there.
But again, in all my years of D&D, it's the only time that it's been appropriate. Literally every other time. And I've probably heard it at least 30 times.
Most of the time it's for stuff off the table.
Yeah.
Two players being petty with each other.
Well, it's what my character would have done, man.
Yeah. No, it's not. No. And see, that's another thing that just proves once again the alignment out the window because you did. So let's have you can't bring him back now.
Right.
You've lost your power, sir.
Right.
You broke
alignment. Yeah. You used an edged weapon.
Right. You killed somebody.
Man, war clerics with great swords.
I don't know. Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah, they're pretty nuts. That's not for this discussion, but they're pretty nuts.
Yeah. Like I said, play it. Well, it didn't take me long. It took me too long, but it didn't take me that long to realize just how OP characters are in 5th edition.
Oh, yeah.
Just out of the box.
But I think another thing that's important too, we talked about it earlier, when it comes to role playing, is the bonds that your characters develop. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about encouraging others to role play with you at the table, to get in character, to get in voice, right? When you bank on those bonds and remind them of things that have happened, they will start doing the same thing. They may not, especially like a player that doesn't use a voice, they may not use a voice.
Right.
But they'll go, oh, like that time when I.
Yes.
Because they're in character.
Yeah.
And their character is going, we did something like that once, which is something friends already do.
Yeah, exactly.
So it just flows naturally,
Truth. And that's nice to hear as a DM.
Yeah.
When, we pulled that off or this happened. Because as DM, you're a little bit outside the story.
Absolutely.
Because things the players don't.
Right.
And which is really maddening at times.
Yeah. There's a whole podcast on that.
Yes, just open the door. XP to level 3. Yeah. I had one of those moments just not too long ago. Just go up the stairs. Just go up the stairs. And 30 minutes later.
Yep.
Just go up the stairs. And I kept, and you keep doing stuff. And then, the other side of that, it's like, the brick was red.
Yep.
I don't know. It was in my description.
How did you not notice?
I'll go that. I just happened to mention the brick was red. Why are y'all saying the brick was red brick?
I think my favorite of that is when you as the DM go, long explanation of the entire room, and somewhere in the middle is the important piece, right?
Yeah.
And it's a big, nobody would not be able to notice that, right? People are taking notes. They noticed that middle thing.
Yeah.
But somewhere between the first part that they started taking notes and the joke offhand somebody made, they aren't listening at all to the middle part.
Yes.
And they completely didn't hear you say there's a giant skull in the room.
Yeah. Gotta love that. It's so weird being a DM because you come to those points, you're just like, okay, I have to say this.
Yes.
But I can't let the players know that I have to say this. But I have to make sure that they know that I have to say this. So I don't want to put too much inflection in on it.
Oh man.
So did I not say that part loud enough?
Right. Or do I need to repeat the words giant skull?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Players are the best and the worst at the same time. And the worst part is, like, when I'm a DM, I'm the smartest man in the universe, right? I know the answer to all of Einstein's equations.
Right.
I can lay out puzzles that I think are incredibly ingenious.
Yeah.
When I'm a player, I'm thumping two rocks together, trying to figure stuff out. You gave us a puzzle at one point that I looked at the puzzle, I went, oh, I know exactly how to solve this. It's like, this is such a cool puzzle. I can solve this no problem. And then I love the rest of the people at that table. I couldn't solve the puzzle because they kept going, what about this one? I know how to solve this puzzle. Let me solve this puzzle.
If I can fill in these blanks here, we'll have our answers.
But that's the best part about it, right? It's a cooperative effort. It's not just one person trying to solve a puzzle.
And that was kind of a funny thing. All the answers were there.
Right.
All the clues were there to solve that puzzle. But your surety actually came from a player who didn't love to do puzzles.
Right.
That was like, is there anything I can do to help? Is there something I can roll?
Mm-hmm.
Rolled well. And I was like, okay, I can give one more thing.
Yep.
And sealed the deal.
And I know you saw the moment when it clicked for me of what type of puzzle it was.
Yeah.
Because I got that clue and went, oh, paper.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's, again, as a party, you can come together, even if you have, like you said, somebody that didn't really care to try and solve too much of that puzzle.
Yeah.
They can still cooperate in a way that is fulfilling as the table.
Yeah. Like you said, I'm not good at this. Is there anything I can do to help? Can I roll something?
Right.
And being the character, yes, you can roll religion. Because what the circumstance and everything, and roll well, and like I said, got an answer.
There's a whole podcast at one point too that we'll have to have about making puzzles as a DM and when do you start throwing hints at the players? How long do you let it go? And of course that also changes per table, right? But
it does. And remember that on your side you have the answer.
Yeah, so it seems simple.
Yeah. And sometimes they are.
I once threw a door puzzle there are 3 doors. If you go through the first door, it warps you back. If you go through the third door, you fall through a hole and then come up an elevator right back where you were. So you had to go through the middle door.
Right.
Simple puzzle, right?
Right.
Doesn't matter. Players might not even know it's a puzzle. They might go through the right door the first time, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Instead, because there's always an instead.
Yeah.
The players split up. And one each took a door. And then on the third door, 2 of them took it because there were 4 players.
Gotcha. So
one of them gets teleported back. 2 of them start descending and decide to cast fly and fly back up.
Okay.
Pretty smart, right?
Yeah.
But now they're just still in the same room, but there's no floor for where the door's at.
Yeah.
So they just flew back up beside and went, oh, we're in a parallel version of the room because there's only 2 doors here. And I went, no, what? And so another 30 minutes passed with them trying to figure out the puzzle while one player was walking down the right hallway. And again, it's just, hey, puzzles, right? Yeah. Of course, then we made it where the person that ran the thing was from a mirror dimension because at that point, the idea was in the player's head. So I wasn't going to let it go to waste.
Oh my God, no, that's so smart.
Yep.
Yes, you are in a
parallel version of the room. You figured that out so quickly.
Got me, you did.
That's way better than just 3 doors.
You got to read the tables. People start getting aggravated. The game starts becoming not fun. You might want to give a couple of rolls.
Yeah.
Well, you might not. And see, the trouble with riddles, I know you said a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it ties into role playing.
It does. The problem with riddles, you're playing a wizard. It's got a 20 intelligence.
Yeah.
I don't have a 20 intelligence.
Right. That wizard's probably going to figure that riddle out.
Yeah.
Ryan, we're talking about role play. We're talking about puzzles. We're talking about riddles. What do you do when you have a player that knows how to solve the puzzle, but says, my character wouldn't understand this?
Would their character understand it?
Probably not, right?
Yeah.
But the rest of the table needs that player to solve that puzzle because the player is the one that knows how to solve it.
Okay, that goes back. Okay, who you're going to have to go meta on that. It might be this is the way I would do it at my table.
I agree.
Yeah, I have to go meta on that table. Like, who's got the highest intelligence here? All right, maybe I don't even know if I had a roll. If I got a player that's like, look, I don't know the answer, but I know how to get it.
Right.
Then meta moment. Well, the wizard's going to do it.
Yeah.
If you want to explain it to him so that he can tell me what his character is going to do.
Yeah. There's another option too, which is you have that player roll a history check.
Okay.
And then that player can go, all right, maybe my character does know this for a reason.
Yeah.
And if they roll well enough, you give a reason, right?
Right. Yeah, you can do that. I don't know. Look, if you got a doctor at the table who's playing a barbarian with 4 intelligence.
If they don't want to solve the puzzle because their character wouldn't get it.
Yeah, I
get that.
I'm not
going to say, yeah, you have to do it.
Now, I think the problem is sometimes, though, people
use that as a crutch.
Well, not necessarily. Okay, they misunderstand the low numbers. They misunderstand what an 8 is.
Absolutely.
If I look on if somebody tells me that, I look on their paper and their intelligence is 4, 6, be like, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
All right. So sit this one out.
Your character doesn't understand a lot of words.
Right. But if it's 8.
Yeah. That character's still a reasonably smart person.
Yeah. 8, 9, and especially 10.
Yeah.
Well, this is not a deep philosophical riddle.
Mm-hmm.
Your character would, they would understand this.
Yeah.
They could
do it. Like my bargeman, right? He's an idiot, but he's got a 10 intelligence. He's not stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he's dumb, but he's not stupid. He's dumb on purpose.
Well, he's dumb because
he doesn't care.
He doesn't
to
care.
Learn more.
His whole point in his life has been to live on that river.
Yeah. That's all he knows.
And yeah. So
he knows a lot about what he knows.
Knows what he knows. And now he's in places where he doesn't know anything.
Right. But he's not drooling on top of himself trying to figure things out, And I think that's, like you said, people misunderstand intelligence scores so bad.
Yeah. Well, it's not really clear.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's not
Wisdom's the same way.
Wisdom and intelligence. Well, I would say it for all stats.
Yeah.
Used to, and this may have been in some supplements or anything, but you kind of got a. Of course, they had exceptional strength, which you had the percentile behind the 18.
If you've watched this far into the podcast, your word for your comment is exceptional strength.
Yes, good one. That's a really good one. But they kind of gave examples of what you could do.
Yeah.
Now I think it's in the DM's guide because it's trying to explain the difference between wisdom and intelligence.
Right.
Like when would you use intelligence? When would you use wisdom?
Yeah.
And they do a pretty good job with that. But one that's buried in the DM's guide.
Yeah, not in the player's handbook.
Right. And there's none of the other stats they do that for.
Right.
Charisma, they don't do it.
Strength and dex really need that breakdown for people to understand the difference.
Yeah. Of what, and it doesn't have to be big. What are they picking up? Can they bend those bars?
Right. It's a strength thing.
Yeah.
Can they slide through those bars? That's a dex thing.
Right. And they give loose examples of the individual stats, but not the difference between having an 8, a 12, and an 18.
Right. Yeah, which are drastically different score-wise.
But because and I think it's the simplicity of the rules of 5e.
Yeah,
because it all comes down to your bonus, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't. There's
the individual number kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah,
the bonus number is the one that matters.
Yeah. There's a difference between in earlier editions. There's a difference between 17 and 18.
Right.
In what you could do, your percentage chance of doing stuff.
Yes.
It changed, and they don't really have that in this edition.
Right.
So there's no difference between, or I should say, 16 and 17.
Yeah. Right.
18, 19.
Yeah. Well, and I think like there's nothing wrong with having the number not be as important as the bonus.
No.
But it's not that one's not as important as the other. It's that one only exists so that the other can exist.
Yeah.
In 5e.
Well, and you know, the biggest, as far as role playing goes, the biggest stat, probably the biggest trouble one is charisma.
Yeah.
You know, one, it's got nothing to do with looks.
Yeah.
Which there is no stat for looks. They got rid
right.
of comeliness a long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago. In fact, that's first. That's look.
It didn't even make it to AD&D, did it?
No.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. It's you've got to have the book with a demon on the cover,
right?
Which like the whole 80s Satan
that's
thing
hard to find now.
Was pretty ridiculous. But that cover didn't help.
Yeah. No, it didn't. It sure didn't.
It's a couple of people summoning a demon on the cover. But yeah,
I wonder why that book was taken off the shelves.
But that was the last time they had anything to do with looks.
Yeah.
And I don't think charisma gets worked out really well in
it doesn't. People don't understand what it means.
And I have a hard time to explain it too.
Warlock didn't help. I used my charisma
for extra damage.
Why?
Yeah.
Because we needed a stat that wasn't used by the other casters.
Yeah, that was, charisma caster.
Like Bard makes sense for me to use charisma, right?
Well, yeah.
Because Bards are supposed to be charismatic.
Yeah.
Why are Warlocks charismatic? Warlocks that normally have become the dregs of society and have turned to a patron for help are charismatic. Are they charismatic because of the pact? Is that why?
Maybe.
Does the pact it makes them think they're better than they are, and so they're charismatic?
Maybe. I don't know. But see, okay, like here's a charismatic thing. In D&D, are you charismatic as a smooth talker?
Right.
Or are you charismatic as you just have people just like you?
Yeah.
You don't have to be a smooth talker. Maybe you just listen well.
Right.
And you say nice things every once in a while. You're socially awkward, but people like you.
Right.
That's a high charisma.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, the sleazeball picking up, I don't know, Tritons at the bar.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's a high charisma.
A lot of extra magic damage if he's a warlock.
Right? It's a high charisma. There's no, even though they don't, I think that maybe even worse than intelligence and wisdom.
Yeah, I agree.
Than trying to actually put a.
The one that makes sense? Constitution.
Yeah.
It's what is Constitution for? It's how tough you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Strength is used for, I don't know, strength, dexterity, and Constitution. Yeah, we can grasp because we can touch it. But then you get on the other three.
They become more ephemeral.
Yes, they do. They really, really do. And it's hard to nail down.
And since we're talking role play, look at how much of a pro I am tying this back up into our topic. How do you role play those skills, right? How do you role play those numbers?
I don't know. Because I'm not really sure if
I'm with you.
I want somebody at the table really role playing a 6 charisma.
Right.
It's like another role playing. This dude's a jerk.
You look terrible tonight, Stacy.
Like, I think you need to go around the backside. You can't tell me what to do. Your face stinks.
Yeah. That's a little charisma.
That's a little charisma.
I think playing a high wisdom character could be really fun at the table. Yeah. Going for like a guru style approach.
Yeah.
Of, no, it will be okay if we fail this because all will be as it was already going to be anyway. And just like everybody go,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. It's my monk.
A high dex character is really fun to play at the table, I think.
Yeah.
Because your character's dexterous. They can do basically whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to spring up that wall for the fun of it. Let's go.
Yeah.
High strength character. Look, Brian, I'm going to be honest with you. I love playing high strength, low intelligence characters.
Oh, yeah.
Just give me a good bashy hammer.
Yeah.
And let me walk into a room and go, what needs to be broken?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just.
All my favorite characters that now. Like I said, I decided to get deep with this last character I made. I got a Ranger Beastmaster.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
In fact, you could call my high strength, low intelligence characters exceptionally strong. I think playing a high constitution character can be really cool too. Because, you can
take the hit.
Well, not just that. In my head, I think about like the big guy that's in so many groups in media, right?
Yeah.
Of, I'm just here to be the shield, basically.
Right.
I'm here to be the guy that gets hit and then just shrugs it off. I'm the guy who goes, yeah, pain's just an illusion. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to hit as hard as that guy, but you're not taking me down.
Yeah.
I'm the bear, But low scores, I think, are more fun to play.
I do too, but then again, I think maybe this is it our DM side?
I think so too.
Because it's fun to have characters with low scores.
Yeah.
Especially when they play it up, though.
Yeah, I agree.
It's...
Slizzy the Wizzy's going to have no strength, no dexterity.
Right.
He doesn't need those in his mind.
No.
So he hasn't worked on them at all.
No.
Instead, magic is what is going to carry me forward.
This is brain power, right? That's what he needs. He gets by on his intelligence.
Wizard. But I also think it'd be really fun to play a stupid wizard.
And look, if you're shy, I do say this.
Yeah.
If you are shy at the table for role playing, definitely dump into charisma.
Oh, yeah.
My character does not talk.
Right. My character is extremely socially awkward.
I am role playing. What are you talking about?
Don't then go, I'm going to go stand in the corner of the tavern with my hood up, and I'm going to face the wall because of my dark secret past, and I need to brood over here for a while. You all do your thing. When it's time to leave, I'll go with you.
Okay. You can do that, but in session 0, you better have looked at me and go, I want to make Max Payne, okay?
Yep. I would posit I want to play an ironic edgelord.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a DM, I would go, yes.
Yeah.
Because that character's going to constantly be hilarious.
Yeah.
Of like, you walk into a room, it looks like there's a lot of people that now have dark secret pasts because their parents are dead.
If you're trying to be cool or clever, I don't want you at my table.
Right? Yeah. Okay? No.
I think that's where I'm at now. Now that we've talked through this.
I only want stupid characters or ironic characters.
Yeah, they don't have to be stupid necessarily, but yeah. All right. If you're trying to be cool or clever.
I did want to throw in one little thing here, just as a quick aside, which who knows how long it'll be.
We have like 15 or 20 asides so far, so go for it.
If you want to roleplay but don't have a character like that you want to roleplay, really, again, I'm gonna just throw this out here.
I know where you're going, yeah.
Steal.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, look, man, I don't want to aside. I'm not saying take your favorite anime character
and
from your newest anime and make that character. I'm saying instead take things you like about your favorite characters and go, well, I really love Alien. I want to play a female character that's had like a troubled past where maybe she's lost a kid before. And I want to kind of be like Ripley. But I'm not going to be just Ripley, but I want to kind of be like Ripley.
Because there's only one Ripley.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And that only survived in a couple movies. But anyway, that's aside and aside of a side, turn around, come back to this way.
Yeah.
Back to it.
Steal.
Okay. Let's try to come up with some ways to do this. What actor would play your character?
Yes, 100%. David Tennant.
I was, that wouldn't for Den. No,
100%. I would love to see David Tennant trying to play Den.
Yeah.
No, like
I think I'd prefer to see Owen Wilson, but that wasn't the question. I was actually asking the question rhetorically. for that,
Samuel L. Jackson.
Clear that at session 0 with your DM.
No, I agree. That's a great way to do it. Of like, I don't know what personality or what voice to give this character.
Yeah.
Who would I want to play him?
And then at the end of the day, if nothing else, just go with Sean Connery.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every one of my characters from now on is going to sound like Sean Connery. And dude,
it works.
Okay. because we're actually kind of joking about this, but like seriously, I do this. Like Sean Connery or Leonidas was his name from 300.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his actor's name right now at all.
But it's like he kind of, I don't know. In 300,
is it Gerard Butler?
Yes.
Yeah.
It seems like he kind of, I don't know. I'm not saying he did or not.
Yeah.
But there's scenes where
I think he was doing a Sean Connery.
He was doing a little bit of Sean Connery,
yeah.
which I appreciated. I'm not going to talk about the second movie. A little disappointed.
Yeah.
But the first movie, historically horrible, but hey, great movie.
Then we will rest in the shade.
We're Neil.
Yeah.
I hurt my leg killing.
And that's a great way to do it. You know, you just you take that actor and you just slap them in there.
Yeah.
And
do a bad imitation of them and go with it.
Try not to be racist when you're doing it. Just throw that out there.
Yeah.
Keep that
on the safe side.
Just keep that in mind. But yeah, absolutely. You know, throw in that actor, go for it.
Yeah, I've used Patrick Warburton before.
Yeah. It's a great one to use.
Yeah. Well, look, there's two characters. One, I haven't got to make in 5th edition. I haven't got to make Rundgren.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I would need somebody that's going to sit down and do, okay, we're doing this campaign. It's going to be a couple of years. All right, I'll make Rundgren.
Yeah.
For that. But I think I have made one of my favorite characters of all time. I named him wrong. I mean, the character that got thrown off, so I can get to remake him. That world doesn't exist anymore. The Minotaur named Pat.
Nice.
Yeah, Pat Minotaur.
Very nice.
Yeah. And Patrick Warburton was on that. And real sweet guy, very confused.
Yeah.
All his people, the guys have horns, the women don't. So when he runs into others, he has a little trouble. Yeah. That was one of my favorite characters to play. But yeah, it started out with, I want a Minotaur, so like Patrick Warburton.
Why not? Go for it.
Sing the song of my people.
You can really just like dive into that too. Yeah. Especially if you are on the fence of like, what type of character do I want to play? Right. Steel again. Yeah. For instance, like I played martial artist monk for a while, Wei the Kensei. Yeah. And I was like, I have no idea what type of character I want this to be. And I went, well, one of my favorite martial arts movies is Who Am I? With Jackie Chan. Yeah. What if I modeled this character after Jackie Chan from Who Am I? Right. And so this character, unironically, I know it's taboo, had amnesia and was trying to figure out who he was. Right. He woke up in a bar and at first assumed it was because he'd gotten drunk. Yeah. But then it didn't go away. And so then it was a journey to try and figure out, who am I? And the character's name was Whom I. And he was
not
great.
Bad, not bad.
I loved Whom I. He was great.
Cool.
His war cry, who am I? It was great. I loved that character. But again, I took all of that from one of my favorite movies, you know? Yeah.
Just kind of fit, change it up, different character in that world. Yeah.
Especially if you're making a character and you're short on time.
Yeah. Steel. I mean, you've seen superhero movies. You're not stealing. Okay. Captain America's a good guy, right? Yeah. You know what Captain America is going to say pretty much, maybe not verbatim. Right. But in the situation. Yeah. And he's going to try to do the right thing. Absolutely. If you made a fighter, he's a good guy. Mm-hmm. There you go. Then you got your little what will Captain America do? Okay, I can play this out as if, he had the ideals of Captain America. Another great way to encourage people that aren't sure how to role play to be able to role play more. Yeah. Is to give them that idea of, like you said, what would Captain America do in this situation? Yeah. There's different ways. And sometimes, you can let them know a little bit, you don't have to, I'm not asking you to get into it. I'm just kind of getting this. So I know what I'm doing. Yeah. For what your character would be saying, how I would react to it. Absolutely. And again, those are situations where if you talk to your DM, session 0. Yeah. You can come up with a much better backstory, try and tie it all in together with everybody else's. Mm-hmm. Works out great. And look, okay, so you do session 0. And you can do this, no rule against it. Some people might be a little bit upset, but you got session 0. You kind of got this little bit of idea, but everyone comes down, sits down at the table. You can start right then. Okay, before we get going, let's go ahead and introduce our characters.
Yep, absolutely.
Because there could be a lot of buzz around the session 0 table, and then when you come in and it's time to start the campaign, and like I said, as a DM, make a little bit of time for this.
Yeah,
introduce your characters, and there might be something that comes up then.
Oh yeah,
that adds to it, changes something. Somebody goes, "Hey, you know what? What if we did that together?"
Yeah, your character is a cop from this area of the world, or a guard, depending on your campaign. I got arrested sometime back. My character did.
Right.
So what if my character got arrested by your character?
Yeah.
And now I'm gotten out and we're having to work together. And there's this weird dynamic now.
Yeah.
Because
this is what a people in character. So that's it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a lot of little small things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think some people are just not gonna do it. And they may just want to direct their character, and that's fine.
For sure.
Like I said, that's not the person I'm going to ask to be on, hey, I'm going to put this up on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I agree. But,
well, I don't know about you, Ryan. I think we covered that topic, honestly, a lot faster than I thought we would.
Yeah, well, I think we try to stay with the main parts of it, because I noticed thinking about it and talking about it, there's so much other stuff it leads into.
Yeah, absolutely.
With world building.
Yeah.
Just because that's what D&D is.
Oh,
Yes.
Thought about something. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off.
Not at all.
Throw this in here. If your character dies at the table, immediately you should be asking yourself, what place has the DM mentioned that we haven't been to yet that my character can be from?
Right.
Because you've been in that world for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
You know the places that have been mentioned.
Yeah.
If your party hasn't been there yet, that is prime real estate.
True.
Backstory up right there, because you already know the DM has brought that place up. You know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And your character, your new character, would know if your party has been like level 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
Your new character would have heard of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also, if there was a place you liked before that you came through.
Very true.
Say, hey, DM, can I make a character that was like, you know what? If those guys can do it, I'm going to help them.
Yep.
Absolutely. I can do it too. And this is where he happens to catch up. He or she happens to catch up with them.
Ryan, I was DMing a campaign.
Yeah.
That Andrew was in from the regular Full Spectrum podcast. And he was using the UA.
Tuesday night 7 on Twitch.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
He was using the UA Wild Magic Barbarian when it was still Unearthed Arcana.
Okay, yeah.
It was good.
Table, yes.
Right.
Yes,
it was good, in some ways broken, but also extremely irregular. And he wanted something a little bit more dependable, right?
Understandable.
So we had been probably 7 or 8 sessions in. We had gotten to the City of the Elves, which I called Sylvanaville.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that's on the nose. It's literally
on the nose. Yeah, no.
City of Elves. And while they were there, his character hit it off with an NPC, and he sent me a DM, and he was like, "Hey, can my character retire here? I want to play something that's a little bit more."
You can see that's something we want to point out. You can do that.
Yeah.
You can ask your DM. I think my character would quit.
Yeah.
After this or stop.
Right.
You can do that as well.
And so then he said,
I have rules about that. Did I go over that in session 0?
I think so.
That if you can retire your character, but at that point it becomes mine.
Yeah.
And it becomes part of the world.
Yeah, and you can use it for as much as you wish. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And he was like, "Hey, we're already in the City of Elves. Can I just play an elf that got inspired by this barbarian that came through and did some great stuff?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Absolutely." And so then his new character became this young elf that had been studying magic. So then we had another healer that had been studying magic and was like, "Hey, that barbarian guy was really cool.
There's more to this world than just this little."
Yeah. The world's so much bigger than just this forest. He talked about, because in character, he decided to choose one of the NPCs that they had met at the tavern the night before. And so in character, before he retired, his old character, he told all these great stories to the elves of all the stuff that he'd done.
Gotcha.
So then this young elf was like, I have to go see this, you know? And so it was just the perfect pickup for his next character.
Yeah. There's I'll make a confession as we're just kind of rambling here before we wrap up. No, I was actually really nervous about Sunday's campaign.
Yeah.
Because it's a bridge one.
Yep.
And it was a long bridge one.
Oh yeah.
Because it's that point is it came to a point in the campaign, and maybe it's just my DMing style. I don't know the way I build campaigns, but there comes to a point where I go, okay, the players have this information. Their hearts, they're fighting for this.
Yeah.
But as the story continues, I got all this other information.
Yeah.
To make sure that I give them. Yeah. And I didn't want that. And especially when it's like, okay, what I did, and this is not something I do every time as a DM. Right. But with this table, I was like, okay, here's a long list of equipment.
Right.
You need to go through and start getting stuff together. And that can get out of hand real quick.
Oh, yeah.
And thankfully it didn't.
Oh, yeah.
On the other side of it, even if it doesn't get out of hand, the players don't want to just constantly take advantage of that.
Right.
It can just take a long time and bog down, and the players who are not involved in it at that moment, because there was a couple players that weren't involved in that.
Right.
On that. And I don't know. So I was really, I just keeping that
shopping stuff.
Well, it's not that it was keeping the table balanced. Right. As there's two different sets doing two different things.
Absolutely.
The jokes don't split the party is more than just about you're weakening yourself. Right. It's also it's hard on the DM. Yeah, and it happened twice during.
It sure did. It sure did.
Happened twice during that. But oh man, it was just I knew it was that type of quest could be just a slog fest of just information and boredom. Man,
But when you have a party that is all role playing, even if they're not all role playing to the same way that everybody is,
right?
Sessions like that still wind up being really fun for everybody.
Yeah,
because everybody's invested in that story. And I think this is not just to prop you up. I don't want to give you the big head, but I think that one way that you excel in your DMing style is that you manage to make things that are important to the individual players still be important to the individual story. So like that last session, that party could have been like a slog itself, right?
Right.
But instead, because we cared about each of us, different people at that party, it became more of a, okay, well, what's going on with these people? What are we learning next? In the way that I think a good story, video games, television, books, movies, whatever, will keep people entertained by remembering what they like, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's a little bit cheating on my end. Like I said, going back to the very beginning, session 0.
Yeah.
One, y'all are connected.
Yeah.
Now, as you were saying, it was different NPCs there, but it's the same world.
Right.
And it's the same, it's the same thing. So one, I appreciate backing me up, on that. Let me know that it was okay to have this.
I had a blast.
Have that session. But like there is those sessions. there is those sessions. Sometimes it's like, man, this could turn into a really boring couple of hours.
Absolutely.
Trying to get this information.
I always panic whenever my parties get to a new town because I know they're going to want to go shopping. I know they are.
Yeah.
And I know my regular players love to spend time with NPCs.
Yeah.
It's their favorite thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm such a hypocrite because I do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's literally just God's gift to me is a group that does what I do.
If you're listening to this, I really appreciate it. I thank you. If you listen to this and you happen to catch me when I'm in the chat on Tuesdays, the more you listen to this, the more you might understand what I'm doing there in the chat on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
There's more than once I've looked at him and go, dude, you're a DM. Why would you do this to me?
I think my favorite is when my character in our last campaign took Speak with Animals just so he could ask animals their names.
Dude.
And the worst part is he wasn't even going to use their names. He was going to rename them anyway. And I just kept doing it. And now I feel bad about it. But I also think it's hilarious.
Yeah. No. So those things you can look back on and just laugh and laugh.
But no, again, when my players get to a new town,
Yeah.
It's immediate. We're going to meet the cool NPCs here. And I always worry that it's going to drag down.
Yeah.
But almost always, and I guess it's just the table that I have, almost always, they walk away from that session going, well, yeah, the main plot hooks were cool and we did some cool stuff. We fought a demon. But that Gorgon NPC, she was so cool. And I'm just like, if I can do nothing else but write good characters, then I guess I'm happy. I can write good NPCs.
I think, and this is not, like I said, this is just my style, and I think it works out. And I think it saves me a little bit when parties get split up. I've been at tables when something happens, even when the DM intends for the party to be split up, where they will complete one whole arc with one character and then come back to the next one. And I don't feel right doing that.
No, I agree. So you got to bounce back.
Yeah. So I kind of try to fraction them both forward if I got to have them separated.
Well, and you run into this issue too, where if you do all of one and then go to do the other, then somebody from that first group is going to go, I'm going to start making my way there to help them.
Yeah.
And then the whole time it's, well, am I there yet?
Yeah. Yeah. Not done yet. You're still doing this.
Right.
Well, they're doing yeah. I'm going to bounce back and forth. That just popped in my head for the.
Yeah. No, I agree with you though.
I don't know. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
I think we covered anything. Once again, you have the regular gaming podcast.
Yep.
On Twitch Tuesday nights. Pre-show at 7.
Yeah, pre-show at 7. Podcast starts whenever.
Right. As soon as you kick it off, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you get ready to kick it off. And I really like the chat group over there.
Yeah, we have a great time.
They're really cool.
You can hang out with us in our Discord and be a part of our discussions there, where every once in a while we talk a little bit of D&D.
Yep.
By checking us out on Patreon. The link is in the description below. And if you give us as little as $1 a month, you can hang out in our Patreon or in our Discord with us.
Right on. Right. Well, it's a Patreon, right?
Yeah, you can hang out.
Go to Patreon.
Nobody ever comments in the Patreon, so I mean, if you want to, but it doesn't help anything.
Discord. I know, and your Discord is intimidating, man.
We got a lot of channels. We got a lot of people talking.
Yeah, yeah.
I sometimes feel like a jerk because I'm the admin, right?
Right.
And so I have to remind people, hey, that thing you posted is pretty cool, but there's a channel specifically for that. If you can post it there next time, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then they delete it. And I'm like, oh, I didn't say you had to delete it. I was just...
We're just trying to keep stuff organized.
I want to have order.
No. Well, as much as bragging on your group over there,
right.
If that's your wish, I'm afraid you probably...
They're kind of a disorderly group. A motley crew, some might say.
You might just have to give up on that dream, sir.
Yeah.
So in the next podcast coming up, we're going to do something kind of work over, and because we started this for the free stuff, like hey, you can play this game for free, and so we're going to build a world, and it'll get more. We may not take a whole show and doing it, but we're going to build up over this time, try to add to it.
So please don't be afraid if you have a topic. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I agree. I think it's going to be really fun to put together this world.
Yeah. And everything that we use for the rules wise and everything is going to be free. Like I said, never pay for D&D again.
Including the world. It's free.
Yeah. Yes.
Once we're done with it, or even before we're done with it, honestly.
Right. Yeah. If it sounds good, take it.
Take it. Steal it. When it comes to D&D, you should always steal. I feel like at some point Wizards is going to come for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Can't say much.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap this up on that note.
I think we should. I think
Wizards
we're
going to
good
come
sport.
get me before the sirens start going, so I have time to leave.
Right.
Until next time, I have been Trey.
I have been Ryan.
We've been the Full Spectrum D&D podcast. And remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that D&D has to offer.